topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Today's show is we are modulating to the entire United States. We normally just do it through Atlanta and Georgia, but this show is going to be covered in all of our markets. I must say that our next guest, our expert, has become my favorite show to do, and that's about doing 60 shows a week. I love doing this show, and it's mainly because I have so much respect for Dr. Eldred Taylor of the Taylor Medical Group. We have, over the years, we have learned so much about functional medicine, and I consider Dr. Taylor one of the top doctors in the United States. And what's so great about it is you can contact Dr. Taylor's office from anywhere in the United States. Let me welcome him now. Good morning, Dr. Taylor.
Hello. Good morning, Steve. How are you doing?
You know what, Dr. Taylor, first of all, I love your story. I think it's an incredible story for an incredible doctor. Let's start off. Tell people about your practice and how you got to going from a OBGYN doctor to functional medicine.
Yeah, well, I am a native of Nashville, Tennessee, and I went to Vanderbilt University in Nashville and came to Atlanta to go to Emory to medical school, and then I did a residency in obstetrics and gynecology, and went out to practice obstetrics and gynecology. And after about 7 or 8 years of doing this, my wife started to having issues that should be associated with what an OBGYN should know how to do. She was having irregular periods and mood swings and just not feeling herself. And about that time, I had a patient come in and asked me about natural hormones and about progesterone. And I really didn't know that much about it. And I didn't think a patient could teach me much about it. But she gave me a audio tape that me and my wife listened to. And it really changed the course of my career, that I really started to understand how the body functions instead of understanding how pharmaceuticals and drugs affect the body. Is really understanding how the body works and how to help it to function like it should for as long as you live. So that's kind of my story. And so since then, I have really been interested in functional medicine. And I describe functional medicine as how do we help patients function as well as possible for as long as possible and not have this slow decline of health as you get older. Yeah, we all are going to get older. We all are going to die, but how are we going to live until that point in time? And so that's what I'm interested in. And, I'm glad I made this career choice. It's really fulfilling.
Dr. Taylor, you must get a lot of patients who have been to other types of doctors. And, people know their body. And sometimes they know it better than even a doctor. And they know that there's something wrong. And I bet you get a lot of patients going, doctors tell me it's all my head or it's something wrong. And it's amazing about how your practice works.
Yeah, that's our best patient. I like patients who have been to all these other doctors, and all the other doctors tell them, hey, you're not sick, you don't have a disease, I don't know what's wrong with you. And the doctors are correct. They don't have a disease. And uh, in order to meet the criteria for a disease, you have to have these certain lab values, you have to have these certain indicators on certain MRIs or whatever. And so you have to enter the disease state, because that's what we've been taught. We've been taught how to diagnose and how to treat diseases. So if you don't have a disease, it's hard for us to diagnose it and it's hard for us to treat it. But if you have some dysfunction, and so that's what the patient is saying. The patient said, I know I'm not well. I know I'm not functioning like I used to, and something is wrong. The patient is 100% right. They're not functioning well. The doctor is saying, hey, but you don't have a disease. And the doctor is exactly right too. And so now you have this confrontation between the doc and the patient. They're both arguing. They both are exactly right. You don't have a disease and you are not functioning well. But the problem is we're not taught how to diagnose dysfunction. We're just taught how to diagnose disease. So if the patient is coming to me, they're saying, I have no disease. So I'm saying, fine, then I will look at how you're functioning. And so we do different types of tests and we do different types of treatment when you're just not functioning well than if you have a true disease. If you have a disease, you need to go to a disease doctor and a disease hospital. But if you have a dysfunction, you need to go to a functional medicine doc and learn how you can function better at home and at work and with your family. And that's what functional medicine is all about.
Well, you taught me about functional medicine. There's very few doctors that I have 100% would recommend them. I usually stay away from that. But after doing our show for several years, I actually turned my fiance on to Dr. Taylor. And I guarantee you, I'm going to tell you what she went through. And I'm sure there's going to be people out there who are shaking their head going, that's what I have. She could not sleep. She was always tired. And not one of the doctors that she went to ever measured her hormone levels. Dr. Taylor was the first person that said, let's get her. And, I got to remember, we're here in Florida. Dr. Taylor's in Georgia. So that's what's so good about telemedicine, Dr. Taylor, that you can, as long as you can get their blood work back and be able to do labs. But you found out why she was always so tired, and it was a lack of one of her major hormones.
Yeah, it was. It's cortisol, and
yes,
yeah, and so everybody knows. You'll go to the doctor and they don't find anything, so it's just stress. It's nothing to worry about. It's just stress. There's no such thing as just stress. Everybody knows that stress can kill a person. You can be under so much stress, you can die. People have heart attacks when they're under stress. So it's not about just stress. And so we kind of poo-poo it and say, oh, it's just stress. But stress is very important. But there's a saying I used to use when I used to go out and speak, is that it's hard to manage something that you can't measure. Okay, so people say, oh, you need to manage your stress. Well, what is stress doing to me? How am I supposed to manage it? Well, the way you test for cortisol and manage it is you do saliva testing. And what happens is with cortisol, when you're under a lot of stress for a long time, your cortisol goes down because cortisol mobilizes glucose so you have the energy to get through the stress. But you can only do that for so long. And after a while, this daily cortisol output goes down. And so you're tired all day. But the problem is that the cortisol levels off. It's kind of the same all the time. So you're too tired in the daytime to get much done, but you're too wound up at night to really go to sleep. And if you don't sleep, there's no way you're going to get enough energy for the next day. So it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So you have to fix the sleep. And then you have to try and help the adrenal gland recover and make more cortisol. And that'd be a whole nother 30-minute show. But
yes,
cortisol testing is very important my wife and I rewrote 2 books. We wrote one book called Are Your Hormones Making You Sick? That's looking primarily at sex hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And then the second book was The Stress Connection, because we began to understand how stress affected the balance of those sex hormones. And not only does it affect the balance of sex hormones, it affects the balance in your gut. It affects the balance of neurotransmitters in your brain. It affects how your heart works. It affects how your immune system works. So that stress connection, so that's so important. So you need to manage, and you need to measure and manage that. And that's probably the most important thing that we do, because we see so many people who have these functional issues, and a lot of it, and there's actually a study that says 70 to 90% of all visits to primary care physicians are for stress-related complaints or disorders. So you have up to 90% of your patients are coming in because it's connected somewhat to stress. And I'm going to tell you, we've been doing this for like 10 years, and I believe that 100% is that most of the patients come in, we do cortisol testing on them. And I would tell you 75 to 90%, especially in women, there's something going on with their cortisol.
Well, that was definitely our problem, because, and she had gone to 2 or 3 different doctors. And stress also has a lot to do with weight too, doesn't it, Dr. Taylor?
Oh, yeah. Well, stress, people stress eat. Why do you do that? Because well, what happens, I told you that cortisol should go up when you're under stress, but if you've been like that for too long, if you've been under stress for too long, it begins to decline. So when people still need that same amount of energy, a lot of times they will stress eat, and they stress eat carbohydrates, because carbohydrates gives the body quick energy to try and get through the day when their cortisol is not doing it for them. And then also, as you gain weight causes inflammation, and inflammation is a stressor. So yeah, everything is interconnected. And I'll tell you, if you don't fix one main thing, cortisol or hormones, then as time goes on, it begins to affect other things. Now you're overweight. Now your cholesterol's up. Now you're insulin resistant. So if you don't fix core problems, then they begin to explode and go into other areas. But here's the great thing about it. When you fix that core problem, then all of the explosion seems to come back. You can fix a lot of those symptoms if you fix the core problem. The problem in the way we were taught is to give some kind of drug for symptom relief. So you're going after all of these symptoms. And then as you go after these symptoms with pharmaceuticals, you're just going to cause more symptoms. And that's just, that's how medicine works in America. When you fix the core, a lot of things get better because you're fixing the primary problem. And that's what we're looking at. And when you say 75 to 90% is associated with stress, then you need to go where the money is. I mean, it's usually something to do with stress.
Yeah, it's really sad what stress can do to your life. We're going to be talking about ED today and peptides, but I want to get one thing, because Dr. Taylor offers we're now calling it the skinny injection. And I just want to tell everybody, it really and truly works. I've been on it for 3 months now, and I could talk on it for hours. It's the first thing Dr. Taylor is, I guess I saw Oprah Winfrey talking about how she's no longer going to be on Weight Watchers. And Weight Watchers is a way of, I just think it's impossible to be able to live that way, counting points all day long. And this injection is just, and I hate shots, Dr. Taylor. I've told you on it. And a lot of times I have gone to give myself this injection in my stomach, and I have to look down because I don't even feel it at all. I have to make sure that I've injected myself. But it really works, and I know people have heard about side effects. And the only thing I've experienced once in a while, a little, and I mean very little bit of nausea, and it goes away. And that's it.
Yeah. The what I tell patients is, look, all I need you to do is do this shot once a week. I'm not going to tell you to count calories. I'm not going to tell you to do any of that stuff, because I've found that the drug almost makes you not want to eat what you shouldn't eat.
Yes.
It's like you were saying, you saw a pizza and you'd usually eat the whole thing, and now you only eat one piece. That's how I see it. It's like, okay, you see a piece of cake, you take one bite and you're like, okay, that's good. So that's how I've seen it, is that you don't, because if you tell them to follow this strict diet and do this and do that, they automatically say, oh, I've heard this story before. If I tell them, take the shot, I'm not going to give you any other instructions. We'll talk about it as we go along, how to maneuver. That seems to go over well. And it seems to work. It's something that this medication does to your brain to make you not eat the things that you shouldn't eat. And I'm not quite sure how it does it, but it does it.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that it's becoming hard to get now. Is that true? Supply?
Yeah. The supply is hard to get the brand name, but when the supply is down like that, compounding pharmacies are able to compound it. And you got to understand, it's a peptide. It's just a chain of amino acids. So it's nothing really proprietary. What was proprietary is how they had that injection gun. But yeah, you can get it from compounding pharmacies, and that's where we get it from. And you can get it at a lesser cost, where it's usually $1,000 a month when you're on it, a brand name, if your insurance isn't covering it. And we can do it for like $400 a month. And so that's
a great deal.
Yeah. So it's a lot less expensive if you get it from a compounding pharmacy. And again, as long as the supply is limited, and the other thing that's happening is some people had an elevated hemoglobin A1C, which is a pre-diabetic lab. And so they would, the insurance companies would cover it with the Ozempic as long as the hemoglobin A1C was elevated. So, but then the insurance companies, in order to continue it, they said, okay, you got to repeat your labs. Well, the medication lowers your hemoglobin A1C. So it did what it was supposed to do. They send in those labs and they say, okay, we're not going to pay for the Ozempic anymore because now your hemoglobin A1C is down. That's the craziness of disease medicine, is that, okay, you took the medicine, we said you had a pre-diabetic condition, it went down. Okay, now it's down, you don't have the disease anymore. We're going to take you off of it until your hemoglobin A1C goes back up, then we'll pay for it, then we'll go. Instead of just allowing them to stay on it, so then they don't have to keep doing this yo-yo stuff. So anyway, so we see patients who were on it, lost the weight, and then the insurance company stopped paying. And so we're another resource for them also. And so, once they lose the weight, we try and figure out a good maintenance program for them, whether it's taking the shots less often. Some people don't even, once they've lost the weight, they've changed their lifestyle so much they don't need the drug anymore.
Right.
So to say that you're going to be on it for the rest of your life is not necessarily true. But it's a game changer. And there's so many chronic diseases that are associated with weight, is that the few little side effects that somebody has does not outweigh the benefits that losing weight will do for our society, because we are an obese society, obese culture. Everything tries to steer us toward being unhealthy that you see on TV, so that's my viewpoint on this medication. It's important.
Yeah. Now, what is your delivery system? Is yours an injection also?
Yeah. What we do, instead of that, the injection gun you get, patients come in once a month and we give them a month's worth of injections. So we give them 4 injections that are already pre-filled. The initial visit, we teach them how to do it, and they do it. So then every month they come in, and then we do what we call a bioimpedance analysis, or it's a body composition analysis. The one thing that you have to be concerned about is that you don't want the patient to lose muscle. You want them to lose fat. You don't want them to lose muscle. So every month we're looking at their body composition. And if they start to lose muscle, we're going to tell them to increase their protein, increase their weight bearing exercise, because losing muscle is not good weight loss. Losing fat, losing excess fluid is. So then that next month we double that dose. So we double that dose every month for the first 4 months until they get to that highest dose. And some people get to a certain dose, they're losing weight, they go one dose higher, they start to have a little nausea, and we'll pull them back to another dose. But so we are managing them that whole first 6 months. And then after that, we try either, if they want to lose more weight, we continue, but a lot of them have reached their goal in 6 to 8 months. Then we try and figure out a maintenance plan for them, what'll work to help them keep the weight off.
Does your maintenance plan, because I've heard some people now, instead of doing it weekly, they're now doing it 1 injection a month as a maintenance. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And some people do it once a month. Some people take half the dose every 2 weeks. Some people say, hey, look, the only reason why I gained this weight because I had a broken leg and I gained, 20 pounds. I'm usually really active. If I can lose this 20 pounds, I'll go back to doing and so those people lose the weight, and then they go and do what they were doing to keep the weight off before, and they don't need it at all. So everybody's different. And I would say probably 25% just get off of it. Another 25% continue to take it every week. Another one every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So yeah, everybody's different. And so we kind of help figure out what works best for them. And also a lot of times they gain the weight because their hormones were out of balance. So now they've lost the weight, their hormones are in balance, and it's a lot easier for them to control their weight.
How much of it, and we had planned to talk about ED today and peptides, and I apologize. It's just we are inundated by callers, viewers wanting to know about this injection. And just now, I've got 3-4 text messages. What do you tell your patients when they do have a little nausea? Do you have them take anything?
Well, they can, but here's how I explain it to them, is that the medication is slowing down your stomach emptying. Okay. So I tell patients all the time, hey, look, when you feel that first feeling of feeling full, you need to stop, because they're so used to eating. Yeah, they're so used to eating a certain amount, especially when they first start, okay, I got a hamburger. Okay, I'm going to start eating the hamburger. So now you eat 1 bite, you eat 2 bites, you start to feel a little full, but you're like, I only ate 2 bites. So then you eat 2 more bites. Now you're going to get nausea because your stomach is still trying to deal with those first 2 bites because your stomach is slowing down its emptying. So if your stomach can't empty that way, it's going to try and empty this way. So the key is pay attention to that full feeling. We have become obese because we have overridden the full feeling. Okay, because we've supersized and we do all of this and we think, portions should be these huge portions. So your brain you've overridden that signal. Is now you can't hear that signal anymore. So now this peptide reinstates that signal, and you're just surprised that signal is showing up so early because you've been overeating all your life. So that's how you combat the nausea. Yeah, I usually don't try, to medicate something away. You try and figure out functionally what's happening, and what's happening is they're eating like they normally eat, and they have to really slow down. So I tell them, hey, you feel that first full feeling? Go wash the car, go do something for an hour or so. Let your stomach empty. Then you can come back and eat 2 more bites. So it may take you 3 hours to eat something that you usually ate in 30 minutes or 3 minutes. So that's the difference.
Well, I got to tell you, I've taken so many supplements that were suppressants, food suppressants. And I got to tell you, none of them ever worked for me, ever. And I got to tell you, it is so, I've been on this for 3 months now. I'm still so blown away that I got a hamburger the other day because it was fast, which is usually the reason why we eat most junk food. But I took one bite out of it, and it was like I had to throw it away. I just something in the brain just says I don't want any more.
Yeah. It's what I'm saying. It does something to your brain too. And again, I was, I did it and I lost like 20 pounds, and then now I'm kind of like I take the smallest dose maybe once a month. I probably could do without it because it has permanently changed how I look at food. I mean, it really does. I don't have any sweet cravings. I don't overeat. I have to almost like, I should eat something. It's not like, I gotta eat. So it permanently changes, your relationship with food, and that's the problem with our culture. Most things, Mother's Day is gonna come up. What do? You go to a brunch and you overeat.
Yeah.
4th of July, Memorial Day, what we're gonna do? We're gonna go and eat too much barbecue and too much potato salad or whatever. Every Sunday, what do? We go to brunch, we overeat, we drink it. I mean, everything, our whole culture revolves around eating, and we eat too often and we eat too much. And this peptide is kind of introducing ourselves to how we really should, how we really should consume food and consume nutrition. And it's not about, overeating. It's about eating what is necessary.
Now, if you break your leg, don't call Dr. Taylor.
Don't call me.
But let's tell people how they can reach you, Dr. Taylor.
Yeah, well, my website is taylormedicalgroup.net, taylormedicalgroup.net, and our email is info@taylormedicalgroup.net. You can call us at 678-443-4000, 678-443-4000. So those are 2 ways you can reach me, and we'd be happy to help you in any way we can.
Well, I got to tell you, I am such a huge fan of yours, and I apologize for not getting into ED today and peptides. I promise you, next time Dr. Taylor comes on, we will talk about that. But Dr. Taylor, we are so blessed to have you as part of our show. And we can't thank you enough.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see you again soon.
All right. See you. All right.
That's Dr. Eldred Taylor, one of the finest functional medicine doctors, weight loss, ED, anti-aging. Anyway, that's it for us today. We'll be back with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.